people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Okay, we'll start with this. It would seem that reigning WBO Super Flyweight Champion Mizuki Hiruta was honored before her ring and WBO Junior Bantamweight title defense. Mizuki Hiruta is just under 2 weeks away from her latest world title defense, and the active Super Flyweight Champion was honored last Thursday at Japan's consulate in her LA training base. She was greeted by and took pictures with Consul General Kosei Murata, appointed in his role this summer. In a press release, she said, "It was a great honor to meet with Consul General Kosei Murata. He is very supportive of my career, and I look forward to welcoming him to a future fight. It was a perfect way to take a short break from the training for my title defense on November 22nd, the same day as Benavidez versus Yard." 360 Promotions president Tom Loeffler deemed this perfect timing for Hiruta, 9-0 with 2 KOs, to make the 6th defense of her WBO title in her adopted LA home a few weeks after the MLB's Dodgers successfully defended the World Series. It's great to see the support Mizuki has received from Japanese fans in the United States and Japan. Mizuki hails from the same Okayama hometown World Series MVP Yoshinobu Yamamoto comes from. Clearly something special there to produce world champion athletes, he mused. Southern California and Arizona are home to approximately 90,000 Japanese nationals, and LA is widely recognized as the city with the largest Japanese population worldwide outside of the country.
Japan.
Hiruta, whose last 3 fights have all been exclusively on U.S. shores, will face Gloria Gallardo, 16-3 with 3 draws and 7 knockouts, for her WBO and Ring Magazine Super Flyweight title on Saturday, November 22nd in Long Beach, California. Earlier this year, she told The Ring that despite her steadily growing profile, she's not satisfied. Through a translator, the 29-year-old was quoted as saying, "I have a lot of room to improve still, and I'm not satisfied yet, not at all. I don't think I'm recognized very well, and then to have that, I have to unify titles and also move up divisions. So that way, I can be a superstar. I want to be a superstar. I think that Mizuki is on her way. At least right now, among boxing fans, she's the most well-known Super Flyweight champion, more well-known than the other 3, which is saying a lot because she's not with a major promoter per se. Tom Loeffler and 360 are a well-to-do promotional outfit, but far from the biggest.
They are far from a big one.
Sporting a professional record of 9 wins with no losses and no draws, 2 recorded knockouts, she'll be facing Mexico's own Gloria Gallardo.
Gloria sports a professional record of 16 wins with 3 losses and 3 draws, 7 knockouts, having never been knocked out. In 25 professional bouts, considerably more bouts than young Mizuki Hiruta, who only has 9. But what Mizuki lacks in experience, she makes up for in raw talent and determination. The rate at which she is improving under the watchful eye of veteran trainer Manny Robles, you'd think that she has a lot more experience in the paid ranks than she actually has. She's getting better and better every single fight. She's going to be facing Gloria. Was last in action earlier this year in March opposite the ring, Maria Garcia, who she stopped in the first round of a contest scheduled for 8. And what was Gloria's first fight of this year, this upcoming fight with Mizuki, will be her second. For Mizuki, it will be her 4th. Mizuki fought in January, fought in May, fought in August, and she's set to fight one more time later on this month on the 22nd, the same day as the big Saudi card, Benavidez versus Yard. That's going to be on Saudi time, meaning here in the United States, you'll be able to see that show
from the afternoon into the evening, then cap off the night with the 360 Promotions fight. So that's a full day of boxing.
I'd be a lot more nervous about Mizuki facing someone as experienced as Gloria Gallardo, if not for what she exhibited in her last fight against the then unbeaten Naomi Cardenas. The same Naomi Cardenas who dominated Bree Howling and gave her her first professional loss was then dominated by Mizuki Hiruta. And I figure that if Mizuki can handle her, she can handle Gloria, who's been beaten 3 times already.
Mizuki is right, though. You know, beating Gloria Gallardo, of course that's good, adding another win to the column, but it'll take for her to unify this division, and not only that, but perhaps move up to another before she becomes the most recognizable, or one of the more recognizable female fighters in the sport.
I think she's gonna do all right 2 weeks from now. I think she's gonna successfully defend the title, then maybe, just maybe, move into a unification match with one of the other champions at the weight in the coming calendar year.
You know, I'm gonna say, if I was Ortiz, what I would do. Oh yeah, I'd do exactly what he's doing. I would make Boots earn it. I would say, you know, why don't you go fight the Majamovs of the world? Go fight Majamov. Go fight Boachuk. You know what I'm saying? Come back, get your resume up, my guy. Yeah, cause I'm the big fish here, and I'm running this division, right? And then you come see me when you got something, right? And I know what some of y'all gonna say. Y'all gonna say, well, Tim, hey, well, Vergil ain't got no straps, he ain't got no nothing. You know what I'm saying? Vergil got value. Vergil got value. Boosting them needs Vergil, not the other way around. Vergil got value. Yeah. And I know some of y'all gonna say, well, Boots got value too. Boots ain't fought outside. When was the last time Boots fought outside his city?
To answer that question, when's the last time Boots Ennis fought outside of Philly? Earlier this year. 2 fights ago, earlier this year, when he unified titles with a Montestanionis and did good gate. Good attendance for that fight, Tim.
He did good attendance in his own hometown of Philadelphia, and he did good attendance outside of his hometown in Atlantic City when he fought a Montestanionis.
Whereas the attendance for Vergil Ortiz's last fight this past weekend was not as good as advertised. Vergil did not sell out. More than one person who was there told me that there were entire sections curtained off and there were plenty of empty seats. Michael Ware said, I was at the fight on Saturday. It wasn't sold out. Friend to the channel, Right on Cue, pointed out how it was not a sellout. He said, I got there over an hour after the main card started, and this was the scene during the co-main event. The entire upper tier was curtained off, and people were still waiting outside to buy tickets for a discounted $42.50. And you can see it. You could see it plain as day in the image posted here. Curtained off sections in the top row and empty seats all around, thus making Timothy Bradley's assessment of the situation a gross overestimation of Vergil Ortiz's marquee value and his role in these negotiations. Not a single fight that he's had, not a single thing he's done as a junior middleweight makes him head and shoulders the A-side over Boots Ennis. That's just bullshit. Now, you're just making excuses for that guy not to fight. If you're okay to fight a Lubin, why would you now not be okay to fight a Boots? Surely fighting Boots gets you more money than you just got fighting Lubin. It's already starting. People are starting to make excuses for Vergil Ortiz to not have this fight because they can see he doesn't want to have it. Now, they're just trying to save face for him. Guy who goes by the name Boxing Guru said, it's not happening next because Vergil is fighting for a world title next.
Took him long enough.
Boots doesn't bring anything to the table yet.
And what did Erickson Lubin bring to the table? That he was okay to fight him.
But you know who does? Sebastian Fundora. That fight is next in Las Vegas. The Zone will absolutely not get in the way of that fight.
Do you know what this guy's doing? He must have seen my last video, my evaluation of what's next for Vergil Ortiz, and he's using that to make his argument.
He heard me say I think that Sebastian will be next, not Boots, and he's using that to give Vergil a pass to duck Boots. He said put both Vergil Ortiz or Boots against anyone else and ask fans to pay to watch. Vergil has more value after Saturday.
Stop it, motherfucker. You acting like beating Erickson Lubin is some kind of fucking big deal.
Especially with the Mexican fan base. Tell me, which fight is bigger? Vergil versus Fundora or Boots versus Fundora? Doesn't take a genius to see which one is bigger.
Doesn't take a genius to see. This is just more paisa logic. You're just making excuses for Vergil due to your common ancestry, and you think we can't tell.
Oh what, Vergil's top villain now because he beat a guy everybody expected him to beat? Give me a fucking break. All these fucking fanboys think alike. Whatever they got in common with a fighter, all of a sudden, it's okay for him to duck. It's okay for him to not fight. It's okay for him to price himself out.
Because of what you and him have in common, right?
Saying to think that Boots is a bigger draw than Vergil is insane. Boots has to put guys like Bam Rodriguez on his undercard to sell.
It's just another misrepresentation of the truth. The truth is, in Boots' last 3 fights, he's shown more ability to sell tickets than Vergil. That's just based on the numbers. That's just reality. But I ain't even saying that Boots is the clear A-side over Vergil. I don't really think there is an A-side between them. I think they're on equal footing.
The fuck does Vergil have that Boots doesn't have? Vergil has an interim title? Boots has an interim title. Vergil fights on DAZN? Boots fights on DAZN.
It's a straw man argument based on things nobody said, because nobody said that Boots was the A-side over Vergil. Near as I can tell, they're on equal footing, but he's treating this as if it's a simple Matchroom versus Golden Boy thing when it's not.
It's not simply Matchroom wants the fight or Boots wants the fight. The fucking platform wants the fight. DAZN are the ones pushing for it. Or did you miss that while you were cooking up narratives to defend your new favorite fighter?
Using Sebastian Fundora as a shield to absolve Vergil of criticism when Vergil out of his own mouth said if he had it his way, he'd be fighting Errol Spence Jr. next. Errol, who hasn't fought in 2 going on 3 years, is still coming off a loss, still doesn't have a trainer. Your boy. That's who he wants to fight. So how the fuck is this not a duck? You're only hoping that I'm right in my evaluation that Vergil won't get Errol, but he'll probably get Sebastian, and now you're using that as a safety net to absolve him of criticism.
Vergil is amassing a history of ducking fighters from what I can see. He already ducked Terence Crawford, and Paco Vericel, then president of the WBO, exposed that. In many ways, he ducked Xander Zayas more than once. When the fight was initially offered to him, Xander accepted, and Vergil chose to fight somebody else. They spin the block.
They come back to Xander after he's won a world title, and he tells them he's okay to fight, but it's gotta be in Puerto Rico since he's a champion now. And what did they do? They chose to fight Lubin.
DAZN tells Vergil they want him to fight Boots Ennis, but his dream fight is Errol Spence Jr. Coming back to Timothy Bradley's comments that Vergil Ortiz does not need Boots Ennis, but Boots needs Vergil.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Because unless Vergil can make with another fighter what he stands to make with Boots, then he needs Boots. Even with Sebastian Fundora, you know. Even if he does get him, he's not going to make with Sebastian what he could make with Boots.
The fight with Sebastian is not as big as the fight with Boots. The fight with Sebastian is alright, and it is a fight of some significance, some consequence, but it's not a bigger fight than the Boots fight.
Doesn't that also apply to Boots?
Yes, it does. But I never said that Boots doesn't need Vergil Ortiz. Near as I can tell, they need each other. Neither guy is so big an attraction right now that they can operate as an island.
Their stock is growing. They're both on the up and up. They're both unbeaten. They're both interim champions. They have quite a bit in common, but neither guy is head and shoulders the clear A-side over the other, and that was never the case. That was never the argument.
That's just the crutch Ortiz supporters are leaning on so they can shift the focus away from the fact that it's DAZN pushing for this fight. It's the fucking platform that wants it.
It's not a simple Matchroom versus Golden Boy thing. Eddie wants this, but Oscar says that. No. The platform they both fight on want them to fight. So what is Ortiz's excuse?
And super middleweight news, Jermall Charlo versus Caleb Plant grudge match is being discussed for next year. Jermall Charlo and Caleb Plant are in talks for a super middleweight clash in 2026, sources told The Ring. Charlo and Plant fought in separate bouts in May on a PBC event that put the former champions on a collision course. However, best laid plans were disrupted when Plant was upset. by Jose Armando Resendiz via decision at Las Vegas's Michelob Ultra Arena. Charlo, 34-0 with 23 KOs, won his last fight against Thomas Cornflake Lamana via 6th round TKO. Later that evening, despite Plant's setback, the grudge match will proceed if a deal can be reached to match the pair. Charlo and Plant are among the most recognizable names in the sport. They engaged in an altercation in July of 2023, 2 years ago, during Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence fight week, when Plant slapped Charlo. And 2 years later, they're still using that altercation as a selling point that seems more and more like cold product.
To be honest, as much bad blood as they may or may not have with each other, Caleb losing to Jose Armando Resendiz hurt the momentum of this fight, if it ever had any momentum, because Jermall Charlo seems more and more like a recovering drug addict, like a junkie. The only reason that he's still an unbeaten fighter is because he barely fights. And when he does fight, look at who he's fighting. Jose Benavidez? Cornflake Lamana?
Jose Armando Resendiz, meanwhile, is in talks to fight Edgar Berlanga, the Ring reported last week. It's possible that fight is paired with Charlo versus Plant if all is finalized. Charlo, 35, is the twin brother of fellow former champion Jermall Charlo. Jermall is a former champion at junior middle and middle. Plant is a former champion at super middle. He's ranked number 7 by the Ring at 168 pounds.
I think that's the only way they could sell this as a pay-per-view, and rest assured that I think they're going to, if they pair it with another fight, if they stack the card as best as they can, if you get Plant versus Charlo and Berlanga versus Resendiz on the same show.
But it doesn't help the card's marketability that Caleb is coming off a loss, and Edgar Berlanga, who would be in the main event, he's coming off a loss, an even more violent loss than Caleb's. Does Caleb still have enough left in the tank to beat today's Jermall Charlo? I really don't know, because I view Caleb as a more consummate professional than Jermall. But Caleb is coming off a loss. He still exhibits those same gas tank issues. The next time we see him, he will not be trained by Breadman Edwards, as they have formally split. Who knows who's going to be training him now?
So he's coming off a loss, breaking in a new trainer. There are some things working against Caleb. What's working against Jermall is Jermall hasn't been in a solid fight with a solid fighter in a very, very long time.
He's been barely active over the years, barely fighting, and when he is fighting, it's not against anybody good, because not only is he battling the man in the ring, he's battling some demons. God knows what they are. Is it alcoholism? Is it drug abuse?
Is it both?
I think the last solid fight, the last solid win Jermall Charlo has had, was against Juan Macias Montiel 2 or 3 years ago. Since then, he's only fought once this year, didn't fight at all last year, only fought once in 2023, didn't fight at all in 2022.
Scraped a win over Juan Macias Montiel in 2021.
So to now be fighting Caleb Plant, even coming off a loss, that would be the most solid opponent that Jermall has faced in a very long time.
I don't know if Jermall wins the fight. Even with Caleb coming off a loss, Caleb is still a more consummate professional than Jermall Charlo.